Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, depending on when you're watching the broadcast and where you're watching it from. This is Jeremy Grandstaff. I'm an organization collaboration consultant working for S&G Endeavors, and really happy to host periodically Coffee with Jeremy, where we talk about collaboration in many, many different forms. And so I'm very excited to be joining everybody today and that you're able to join us. Today with me, I've got Jessica and Kimberly, and we're going to spend some time getting to know these two brilliant and exciting ladies that I've had the opportunity to get to know over the last 4 to 5 years. And so I'm really excited that both of you are able to join us today for today's conversation. We'll get into introducing you in just a minute, but I'll say on today's conversation, we're going to really dive in. We're going to talk a little bit about netwalking and what that means. We're going to find a little bit more about how Jessica and Kimberly have worked with S&G Endeavors and some of the collaborative planning work that we do. And we're going to talk about 2 upcoming events. One is a netwalking event here in DC happening on August 24th. And we're also going to talk about an upcoming webinar that Kimberly, your organization, is hosting on the rules, RULES, for women in the workplace and how those have changed or evolved over the last year. So I'm really excited that both of you are here with me today, and just thank you so much for taking your time.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Excellent. Well, so let's get to know the two of you a little bit better, and then we'll dive into some of this discussion around different forms of collaboration and how that works. So, Kimberly, you are a board member for ISODC, which is the,
International Society for Organization Development and Change.
Excellent. And this is essentially my professional development organization that I belong to as an organization and change consultant, collaboration consultant. John and I, with our partnership that we were working on with Nexus for Change, really had an opportunity to get to know ISODC and what you guys do. And I'm very proud to say that I'm now serving as the membership person for the membership chair for the organization. Yay. Yes, so very excited about that, and I'm really excited about this webinar that you guys have coming up, which we'll get into later. But Kim, tell me a little bit about, first of all, is it Kim or Kimberly? Which do you prefer?
Oh, you can call me anything but late for dinner, but Kim is fine.
So late for dinner, tell us, no, I'm kidding. Kim, tell us what really inspires you about change? Give us a little bit more into the Kimberly yeah.
Well, I've completed my PhD at Benedictine University last, and I think the thing that really motivates me about change is when it's done the right way. I love change when staff at all levels are involved, it's planned, it's executed in a positive framework. I just think that it's the best thing ever. So that's something that I've been very involved with, both in my education and my work, and it's something that I really enjoy being a part of with the ISODC.
Excellent. Now, Jessica, Jessica Tunan runs Netwalking, LLC. And Jessica and I first met in Austin, Texas about, oh my goodness, was it 4 years ago, I think?
2013.
2013. And so, Jessica, I know you have been involved in a lot of different kind of change efforts, both from what you're doing with netwalking and trying to get people to really think about the way or change the way that they approach networking in their lives, to even some of the work that you and I did in Austin around increasing walking and biking. And I have to tell you, it's just really awesome getting to connect with you. So tell me a little bit, Jessica, help us get to know you a little bit better by talking about what does change really look like to you? What does that mean to you?
What change looks like is just forming what people's normal habits are, and then looking at it as, you know, some of the change habits that you do, and then how you can do for others. A lot of it on the networking piece of it, I always felt that it was a very artificial environment, and wanted to take it outside so that people feel more comfortable, more confident within themselves, and then also get in like all the amazing benefits of walking. And I just really saw that as just a habit that people had of that, going to an event, going indoors, and then just taking it on the outside aspect and getting all those great benefits. But it's just
Well,
has to start with getting that one person to say, hey, let's go for a walk.
well, and it's so funny that Jessica put it that way because, so I'm going to stick with you, Jessica, and talk about kind of our experience working together, and then I'll come back to you, Kimberly, and then we're going to actually get into these webinars and upcoming events. But when Jessica and I first met, it was around doing some work that S&G Endeavors was doing for America Walks, and it was around increasing walking in Austin and figuring out ways to create a more walkable Austin. And I have to tell you, Jessica, one of the things that I posted very recently on my Facebook and on S&G Endeavors Facebook is kind of this small video that I recorded kind of talking about why walking is important to our organization, why we're really concerned with or we like working with organizations that are trying to make places more walkable, bikeable. And it's because for me, I used to be the guy who walked in and talked about equity and, you know, this is where we need to come together as a community and plan that. And last Wednesday, I became the person who now walks in and says, last week I was hit by a car. And so it really kind of hit home for me why we're focused on trying to get people to adopt the habit of walking or to look at how our city helps us walk or creates an opportunity for us to walk places as opposed to getting in those 3,500-pound vehicles. And so talk to me a little bit about just kind of the work that you and I have done together when it comes to walking and kind of the collaborative planning work that we did. Jessica, what was that like working with S&G Endeavors? Like, were we good at what we did, or, you know?
It was more than that. Because the group that we did within America Walks in Austin, a lot of us really care about the built environment. We really care about health, and just getting us together and being able to facilitate that conversation because, you know, we all have different wants and needs, but is that really great for the city itself? And so having to do that and then having those conversations and then the follow-up conversations and then leading us all back because, you know, you want just the end game, the end result. And that was really important, what we did, and then having you there.
So we were able to help you guys kind of make sure that you were looking at that from a process perspective and not just a one-off type of thing, it sounds like.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, excellent. Do you remember, I know it's been like 3 years ago, do you remember like one of your favorite parts of that walking summit that we facilitated in Austin?
Gosh, there were so many different things. I know that some of the folks that you had on even Skyped in. We had our city council member at the time, Chris Riley, there. We had a walk that was done at the lunchtime, which was really nice for people to actually do a walk audit. It was just really nice just to get everyone's different perspectives, and then also having us in those groups and being able to talk amongst ourselves.
Yeah, that small group method is really kind of really good at allowing everybody to get an opportunity to participate. And so I always kind of make this joke to people that we don't want people to feel as though they're heard. We want them to know that they were heard. And I think the small groups really does that. Now, Kimberly, you being with ISODC, you and I have done a little, probably less work together, I would say, in the collaborative realm. I know you probably work more with John on the webinar pieces and things like that, but I do know that you and I were kind of talking about some stuff that I facilitated with Steve Cady last year for ISODC's
Mm-hmm.
conference.
We've
What
been
was
pretty
that?
collaborative, I would say.
Yeah, I think so.
Uh,
But what was that experience like, kind of looking at the way that we facilitated that conversation, and like what are some of the highlights from that that you might give to people?
are you referring to the Canada conference?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that we were at a pivotal point in our organization, and we really did some brainstorming about where we wanted to go as an
Mhm.
organization, as well as also looking at where we've been, because I think it's really important to recap and look at where we've been before you plan where you're going or where you
Mhm.
want to go. And so it was just a really exciting time for our organization from that standpoint. It was also exciting in the fact that everyone who was at the conference, we made sure that everybody's voice was heard or
Mhm.
represented in some way. And, I just think that when that happens, it makes the end result so much better.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more, and I have to tell you that was the first time that I had really facilitated with Steve Cady, and I'll
Mm-hmm.
give homage to Steve. Steve
Mm-hmm.
has been Dr. Steve Cady has been very influential in helping me even see that this is where I wanted to be
Yeah.
with my life, and so it was really neat to facilitate that conversation with the ISODC and to see where you guys have come as an organization. You guys are actually getting ready to start a virtual summit with us
Mm-hmm.
where we're going to
Yeah.
facilitate you through the engaged change process that we featured earlier this year on Coffee with Jeremy. And so, Kimberly, we're going to have you back to talk about that after
Okay.
that's over. And you know what? It could actually line up very nicely, Jessica, with you and I doing kind of a recap of what happens at the netwalking event. So let's get into these events, folks. Um, so one of the events that I want to talk about is a partnership between Jessica's Netwalking organization and S&G Endeavors, and we're excited to hire Jessica's organization to help us host that Netwalk. It's going to take place in DC on August 24th. I believe, Jessica, did we say 6 to 8?
Yeah, 6 to 8.
Yep. And so we'll actually be net walking, I should say, our way through one of the historical districts of DC. Like, there's not enough of those to go around. But I think it's through the U Street corridor, if I remember correctly. And so Jessica will lead us on that walk. She'll talk a little bit about the history pieces. I'll talk a lot about collaboration, how we have used collaboration within the Nebraska project that we're working on, the Nebraska Walkable Communities project. We'll probably throw in some stuff there for corporate, because if you can get a good mix of corporate and nonprofit, you might be able to create some funding netwalking connections
Yes.
and help the nonprofit sector here. So Jessica, what else can you tell us about that event that really excites you, or kind of some of the things that we can look forward to with that?
Sure. Yeah. No, it's one of my favorite areas of DC, as you said about the history of it. But then there's also parts of it where they have some new technology. There's an app called Your Asthma where you can actually look at a mural and hear, and it's like a virtual reality. So it's nice to have that kind of technology as well. But it's just such an amazing area with so many different murals, and it's a very vibrant area. So I love it a lot.
So
And
this
then
Your Asthma thing, I definitely want to check that out, because I have never seen that before. I'm very interested in how
yeah,
that
yeah.
works. So excellent. Well, okay. And Kimberly, you guys are doing a webinar. I believe it's next Thursday, the 21st.
So I want to back up for just
Oh,
a
yeah,
second.
yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
When you were talking about working with Steve Cady, I I believe it was the first time I experienced a workshop with him, which was at the ISODC Amsterdam conference, and I was blown away. I mean, you guys just did a wonderful job in really just bringing the conference together and just creating a very exciting and interactive conference. Then we had the follow-up Canada conference, which was a little smaller group than the Amsterdam, but a great conference as well and a great environment. And what you were referring to as our next strategic planning event is when we kind of go online and use our broader base of our membership and our strategic plans going forward. And we just had our first event on that, and it was just really exciting to get as many voices as possible online and hear and establish plans for the next 5, 10, 15 years going forward. So that was really exciting. One thing that we're really trying to do with our organization is, and I don't know if you can hear my parrot in the background. That is my parrot in the other room, so he likes to talk when I talk. But we're trying to have more webinars. And I had read this book by Anne Litwin. I'm not sure if you can see it here, New Rules for Women. I had heard about this book earlier this year, and I read it. I sat down on a Saturday and read it cover to cover, and it was just really exciting how it talked about revolutionizing the way women work together. And I had read Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg, and this book just really seemed to kind of take it a step further on how women can really maximize and play to their strengths, and really leveraging women's strengths such as team building, consensus building, having women not be as competitive, but more collaborative, and how women can better understand both themselves and their female colleagues and become stronger and productive, so that both their satisfaction and their job satisfaction can increase. So I really love the book, and I brought it to our committee, and they were very excited. So then we reached out to Anne Litwin, and she was excited to do a webinar with us as well. So the webinar is next Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and she will be on talking about her book, and also we're really hoping for a very interactive dialogue, and we are hoping to have many women and men join in the conversation, and just look at ways that we can understand each other better and play to each other's strengths, and then of course be more collaborative. So
we have about 10 minutes left in this, and I will go to John and ask if we've got questions.
Okay.
But I want to tell you guys, when I was prepping for this today, I found myself in an interesting spot, and it's something that I really want to own, which is, as a guy, it felt really weird saying, we're going to talk about this a little bit, because I'm a guy. It's kind of like when I try to walk in and say, let's have a discussion about race, because I'm the white guy in the room, right? And how we do that and how we approach that. So here's my question to you both as women who are working in today's corporate or nonprofit sectors. What, from your guys' perspective, and I don't know, whoever wants to start is fine, but as a guy, what do I need to know that's going to help me be able to either better have the conversation or better support the women that I work with? Just from your guys' perspective. And I know that's totally a question that might be catching you off guard. So there's no right or wrong answer. But I would really, I want to know how to do it better, right?
So I think the first thing I would like to say is, Jeremy, you need to sign up for the webinar.
Well, I will.
So if you go to www.isodc.org, right there on the homepage, there's a place for you to sign on for the webinar. It's free. So I'll kind of give you I don't know, a 2-second or 2-minute, synopsis. But I think if you attend the webinar, which should take about an hour, you'll be able to delve a little bit deeper and, of course, hear the experts' opinion on that. But from this person's opinion, I would say that, there were many things the book addressed. Just just a lot of things. But I think one thing that really stood out to me is, as women, a lot of times we have boundary issues because we are, we're going on all cylinders. We've got the home, we've got the, family, we've got the career. And so sometimes we're not just thinking about the matter, right in front of us. And so sometimes just thinking about the way we think in difference to men, and sometimes I think as women we need to create those boundaries, because we do sometimes have a much broader picture of, I don't want to say the world, but our world, if you will. So that was a real interesting thing that I took from the book. And, sometimes if we just understand little things about each other, it can make a big difference in our interactions, both among men and women. Does that make sense?
It does. But I mean, I think, in all honesty, it tells me where those things are. It doesn't, and I think I do agree with you. I think I got to come to the webinar and ask that question. But I also, I want to make sure, even as a facilitator, that I'm not overlooking something or not thinking about something from the points of all different points of view. So I don't know, Jessica, do you have any tips for me as a guy? Like, what do I need to be? Are there certain things that I should be doing that helps me better be in tune with what the women I'm working with need? And to be able to do that better. I don't know if I'm even asking the question right, but
what I do find about you is that you're very honest and you're very straightforward, and I feel like you treat me just as you would anyone else. And you do ask questions about getting to know me and my personal life and outside of work. So I think that makes a huge difference in our relationship. As really said, of just getting to know the person as well. Boundaries.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Jessica.
No, but even in boundaries, you're just getting to know someone, so how many questions do you really ask, and, if they're comfortable with talking to you? Even to suggest that, asking them, are you comfortable with me talking to you in this manner? So just even posing that.
That's kind of an interesting point, too, and this is always interesting for me when I start thinking about these issues of, how different sexes operate with each other, how different races operate with each other, and it's kind of interesting to me because the advice that you just gave me as a guy, thinking about how I'm interacting with other women, is really the advice that I give to people when they say, how do I talk to blind people in my office? Right? It's that interesting thing of don't be afraid to ask the question. And don't be afraid to say, can I ask the question? So, yeah. Interesting. Well, we're going to be talking with you guys. I know we got a late start today.
About that a little bit as well.
Yeah, go ahead, Kim. Feel free to always jump in.
Okay. And I just really think that that being aware of those potential differences and just being very clear and understanding, I just think goes such a long way in in dealing with people. And no matter what our differences are, when people know that you care and that you are really trying to be collaborative. Even if you occasionally make a faux pas, you know, it's okay because they understand where you're coming from, and I think that that's really important.
That's amazing. Excellent. Okay, so I want to be respectful of your guys' time. Do either of you have any parting thoughts that you would like to leave our viewers with before I wrap up today's show?
Sure. I just hope that everyone can attend our August 24th event. Again, it's at on U Street at 6 p.m. And to find out more about it, it's on my website, netwalkingllc.com, and you can just register for the event on there.
Excellent. And anything from you, Kim? And we do have registration links in the description for today where you can get to both of these events easily.
Okay.
Oh, wonderful.
And it was very nice to meet you, Jessica, and I think your program, it sounds great and very exciting, and I think it's really a neat way to network as well. Jeremy, of course, it's always good to see you, and I just would encourage all the listeners as well as you all to register to attend the webinar and to take a look at ISODC as an organization. It's really a small but mighty organization, and they do a lot of great things. So.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to wrap us up with just a quick overview of different things that you can go check out. So if you do want to register for the upcoming webinar, which is July 21st, you can do that by clicking the link in the description. It takes you right to the registration page. And so you can see that kind of if you scroll the description down there. You can also find the link for the upcoming August 24th event, the Netwalking event here in DC. That is an in-person event. I intentionally scheduled it on a Wednesday, Jessica, so that we could do a coffee with Jeremy as part of that event.
Oh, great.
So I'm excited about that. You can find more information about Jessica's organization, Netwalking. Is it netwalkingllc.org?
Yes, or .com.
Yes, or .com, excuse me, netwalkingllc.com. Can find more information about ISODC and what they do to help inspire and create the future leaders of organization development and change by going to www.isodc.org. You can also find information about Nexus for Change, which is one of those partners, both with ISODC and with S&G Endeavors, at nexusforchange.org. And as always, you can find all the episodes of Coffee with Jeremy at coffeewithjeremy.tv. Information about S&G Endeavors consulting services at sgendeavors.com, and information about SG Media Group and what John does to support these logistical collaborations online at sgemediagroup.com. A big thanks to Kimberly and to Jessica for coming on today's show. We really appreciate you guys taking the time, and please share these with other people. I have a goal to get our viewership up significantly, and you guys can help us do that. Also, if you've got an idea for coffeewithjeremy.tv, don't hesitate to post it to me on Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, or you can drop me an email. Just again, go to sgendeavors.com or coffeewithjeremy.tv. And thank you very much for everybody. This concludes today's show. So a big thanks again to Kimberly and to Jessica. Have a great day, all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.